Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fortress of Comic News, episode 199. I am one of your hosts, Chris, alongside my space bastard friend, Mike.
I am a space bastard, aren't I? Welcome, everybody. Episode 199, which means 200 is around the corner. So, you guys are going to have a special guest for 200. Well, we have a special guest for 199, and it is none other than co-creator, illustrator of The Boys, and a lot of other awesome stuff like Transmet is Derek Robertson. So he's on the show today. We're not going to bother you with a lot of our spiel for too long because we got to get to that interview. Such a cool guy. If you can see behind me, if you're watching our beautiful faces, Space Bastards #1 is out now. Space Bastards #2 comes out on February 10th. In February, so check it out. Really cool story that he is involved in, and you're going to hear more about.
Yeah.
So with that,
buy that book.
Yeah, buy the book. Let's jump into the news really quick. Netflix announced the official cast for Sandman, which came out of nowhere. So let's just list off the cast. We got Tom Stuffage is playing Dream, which this right away, I always thought Joseph Gordon-Levitt was involved with the Sandman stuff, maybe when it was being written for a movie. So I was a little sad about that.
He was involved at one point, but yeah. I think I dropped off.
So no Gordon-Levitt, but we got Gwendolyn Christie playing Lucifer. Now I am excited for that. I think that'll be good.
That's perfect casting.
Yeah, I'm thinking Tilda Swinton as Michael the Archangel in Constantine. You know, remember that? I'm thinking that style, like Lucifer. Oh, she's gonna kill it. Like
yeah. It's just everything about it. She's just perfect for the role. It's great.
Vivian and Chimpong is playing Lucine. Boyd Holbrook is playing Corinthian. Awesome. Corinthian on I can't believe I'm gonna see Corinthian on a screen because Corinthian is terrifying. That's one of the most interesting parts of the Sandman is like when the Corinthian shows up. It's just like very unsettling. Charles Dance is playing Roderick Burgess, and Asim Chaudhry is playing Abel. So we're gonna get Cain and Abel. Yeah, I mean, we're getting. So I don't know if this is all going to be done in one season, but I can't imagine they can do it all.
No, but as we always talk about, like, I don't imagine this will be a one-for-one adaptation. It'll be more of an Earth 2 Sandman. So I'm sure they're going to do their own thing, create some new story. Like, there's things about it that even Neil Gaiman has said that if he was to write it today, he wouldn't do it exactly the same because today is different than yesterday. So there's definitely going to be some differences in the story that they're going with. So
yeah, make it a little more modern day. And with that, let's WandaVision this week. Spoilers for episode 4, I think it is. Man, we went way farthest we could get away from the 80s because I was so excited for an 80s episode, and we just got modern day. The whole episode was just exposition.
It honestly, I really liked it. I'll put it that. But I was a little disappointed at first watching it because I was expecting the 80s sitcom.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that means we're one episode away from the Roseanne sitcom. Like,
yeah, right. Here we go.
But then, this episode needed to happen, though. It really did.
Yeah. So, I mean, just the main parts of it is I'm almost convinced by the end of the episode that Wanda has created this, like, pocket universe thing.
Yeah, so I think that some of my ideas I've been throwing out the past couple of weeks were on the nose, but what I missed is that Wanda is the center of it, and Wanda's creating, and it does come back to like something I said after episode 1 and 2. I think that this is Wanda's way of dealing with the grief of Vision, her long lost love, dying.
She's protecting herself.
Yeah, and creating this alternate history where she got to have a life and kids and all these other things.
We get that weird glimpse of like him with a hole in his head, like a zombified. Yeah, and I was like, "Damn, Marvel!"
straight out of Endgame.
Yeah, straight out of Endgame. And I mean, we get. The episode starts off with the reverse of the snap. So like, I was like, "Oh, damn!" And the realization of who that character was. We thought it was Misty Knight, but it's actually the daughter of the head of S.W.O.R.D. And yeah, a very interesting episode, and I'm looking forward to the 80s sitcom maybe next week, hopefully.
Maybe, yeah. If anyone's on the fence for the show, like I had a conversation with my father actually yesterday about it, and he was kind of like, I don't know if I like this show. It's kind of too weird for me.
Yeah.
And I had just finished watching this, and I said, watch episode 4.
Yep.
And this is what I'm gonna tell everybody: watch episode 4. If you don't like it after this, it's maybe not for you. But this really bends everything together to make the whole what's happening make sense.
I just want to know if she's actually manipulating time, or it's like a projection, because they send the drone in and it gets reverted back to its like 30 years ago prototype. If she's manipulating time, this is going to tie directly in with the main villain they've casted already.
Yeah, I think it's more she's manipulating reality, and she's creating a reality for herself to deal with things. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm even more interested in who the neighbors are and who the other cast of characters are.
Yeah, because they've identified them as like missing people, but it's like, is she the one like manipulating the people, and like set up a defense grid to where like if they come in with anything from the outside world, it's complete, like that's so much power that she has to do all that stuff. It's kind of crazy.
And it's something that was pointed out to me when you go back and watch the last episode where she's giving birth to the twins. Yeah. And things start to go a little haywire. Mm-hmm. And it's not just like that the paintings are going in circles and shit like that, but like the neighbor starts cutting the chain or his saw through the fence. Right. And like they start to break from the reality a little bit.
There's a lot they have to keep up with.
So it really like holds in that she was not able to keep reality in check while giving birth for obvious reasons.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I'm really dug in deep with this show. I love it.
That's great. Yeah, I think it's really good. By the time it ended, I'm like, oh, like damn, it's already over. I was like, wow, okay. Movie news: the Justice League Snyder Cut is set to release on HBO Max March 18th. So we're about a month and a half out, people. I know there was some flack on the internet about the poster he released because it was like the JL symbol, but it was all smashed to pieces and destroyed. And people were like, man, if this is the first Justice League movie, why are you trying to make the image of them like broken and falling apart already? It's like, all right, everybody chill. Like you're the ones that voted for this movie to come out, so just like enjoy it and shut up.
It's those people will never be happy. But I like follow him on Twitter because he released that. He released a couple other posters, and I think it was today, as we're recording this, he released an image with a quote by Martian Manhunter. It's just like these things are getting me even more. It's WandaVision effect, where I was kind of like, whatever, just League Snyder Cut. And as we get closer, I'm like,
give me
these things are getting me more in and more in. Yeah.
I'm telling you, what's even more in is this awesome interview we have with Derek Robertson. So let's jump to that, and everybody enjoy that, and we will see you on the other side.
Welcome to the other side, everybody.
So I know they say don't ever meet your idols or heroes, but Chris and I have been proved wrong and wrong again every time. We've been so fortunate to meet these amazing people and icons in the industry. Such a humble, cool dude. Can't say enough nice things about him, but please check out Space Bastards. Volume 2 is up on Kickstarter, and you get all the Volume 1 stuff, and also issue 2 comes out in a couple weeks, so look out for that. It's a great story, and I mean, you got a glimpse into the world that he's building. So
yeah, the first issue is great. It's just so good all around.
Yeah, and I mean, Derek's just such a cool dude. And who knows, maybe we'll have him back. I don't know.
Yeah, something unannounced though. I need to hear more about.
Yeah, I always love that. We always like do the little off-air stuff where we talk to the guests and talk about what we're going to talk about, and then they drop those little, nuggets of knowledge of like, oh, we got something. We can't ask any more about it. It's like, but I can't say anything else. It's like, all right, well, we'll take it. So such a cool dude. Please check him out. Go to his website. There's some amazing pages up on his website of the boys' art, original art. And as an original comic art collector, I wish I could afford
So, quick story about that. I was doing the quick research before the show.
Yeah.
And I was on his website, and there's one page, and it's of I think it was Zombie Lamplighter.
Oh yeah,
the splash page. I'm like, ooh, that's nice. And I clicked on it, and I saw the price tag. It's like, man, I wish I wasn't poor.
It's so I will say they're expensive, but like
it's not out of the realm of something of a normal like
right,
especially a splash page of a main character. Like yeah,
and even the interiors are more expensive than interiors I've seen, but it's very well deserved. I mean, it's Derek Robertson art. You know what I mean? Like I've seen some pages out there for like $500-600, and I'm like, dude, you just did some New 52 pages, and then you never did anything for DC again. But like, I mean, this is Derek Robertson, and these prices, I mean, they speak volumes of just like his talent. And I mean, you look at those pages, it just brings you back to reading The Boys for the first time. It's just awesome. Anyways, let's jump to the comic book news. What do you think?
Let's do it. I'm excited about this first one.
Yeah, Marvel has officially announced what Heroes Reborn is, and it's their upcoming event title for the spring.
Shocking.
Wow. Really shoving it down our throats. The series will be written by Jason Aaron with art by Ed McGuinness. Holy shit. Will feature Blade going to a dimension where the Avengers never existed. Holy, I gotta go. I'll be right back. I gotta go mail my wallet first class, so it'll get there in 2 weeks. But dude, hold on. Okay, the series shows a possible alternate timeline where different heroes are forced to step up against evil. So they're making Blade the center of this?
So this is obviously going to spin out of Jason Aaron's Avengers run because Blade's on the team.
Yeah.
And Ed McGuinness was the artist for a while. I mean, he's been on and off the artist for different story arcs. So those two have worked together. It's obviously connected into what he's doing with Avengers, all that. Blade being the guy that goes the alternate dimension, I think it makes sense in the fact that he's not a person they would recognize as like, it's not like Captain America goes to another dimension. It's like everybody knows Steve.
Right.
So that I kind of get, and he can kind of be another hero amongst a bunch of B-list heroes. If he doesn't need to
dress like Blade.
So I'm excited for this because Ed McGuinness art, check. Jason Aaron writing, check.
Yep.
And Juggerdoom still in this book last I saw, check.
Wow.
And they showed another piece of art where it's it makes me laugh because it's Thanos with the Infinity Rings. And I love it. It's wacky, it's different, it's cool. I'm down for this all the way around.
We need this. I think we need this. And I'm actually, you heard it here, I'm reading this event book. They've interested me.
And this is another thing too. It's an event book, but it's not like King in Black. Like I love King in Black right now, but King in Black was said to be, this is the defining world-shaking event book, which it won't be, everybody.
Right.
I just hit my mic, so I'm sorry if that was
hilarious. Hold on, almost 200 episodes. I've never seen you do that before. You got so excited about this thing, you just ate your mic. Anyways, go ahead.
But okay, yeah. So it's always like it's an earth-shattering or universe-shattering event book. Everything's going to be different on the other side of this. And this one, they're just like, no, Blade goes to an alternate dimension, wacky shit happens. I'm like, that's cool.
Right.
Like, not every event book has to be universe shattering.
When they say wacky shit happens, well, they didn't exactly say that, but Chris knows he's getting some form of MODOK involved somewhere.
Oh, he better. Yeah. And I'm going to say, too, my favorite Avengers story out of this run that Jason Aaron's done was some of the wackiest, weirdest shit, which I've said a million times. The Avengers fight Dracula, and then he ends up going to Chernobyl and living in there because only vampires could live in the toxic wasteland of Chernobyl.
Yeah.
And Emma Guinness does the art for that. So,
yep. I'm reading the Jason Aaron Thor run right now, so I'll be on to the Avengers after this.
It's such good stuff. Yeah.
Yep. This is actually kind of fun. This brings me back to like the old school comic stuff,
90s DC, right?
90s DC, yeah. For the first time ever, Marvel's opening up a vote to determine the final character to join the new X-Men team. And I feel like whenever something like this happens now on the internet, the trolls are gonna take over. But by going to marvel.com/X-Men vote, that's all one word, X-Men vote, you can choose between 8 mutants to join the team.
Yeah, so it makes sense in the story arc because after Ten of Swords, stuff happened, and then there's vacancies on the council at Krakoa, and they talk to Cyclops and Jean, and they invite them on, and they say, no, we want to lead a new X-Men team.
Mm-hmm.
And the council's like, okay, yeah, let's do that. And he goes, and I want it to be voted on democratically by the people. Like, it needs to be an X-Men for the people, by the people. So it kind of ties into the whole story arc. You're not voting on any like A-list heroes here, though. Like, we're talking about Banshee, Polaris, Forge, Boom Boom, who better win. Tempo,
Boom Boom better win, please.
Tempo, Cannonball, Sunspot, Strong Guy. Always my favorite superhero name ever. I don't care. Marrow and Armor.
I don't know. Did you say Cannonball? Is Cannonball like the bouncing boy of Marvel?
I'm going to plead the fifth here.
I love Bouncing Boy and Legion of Superheroes.
Listen. Boom Boom's on the list. If Boom Boom doesn't win, I riot. Like,
okay, Boom Boom's got to win just for the like. Pick one that doesn't fit with the others. Boom Boom is just such a fun name to have.
I want to be in the room where Boom Boom wins and Hickman's just like, fuck, I gotta change my whole story to fit Boom Boom in.
He's gonna kill him off. Oh my god. Garth Ennis has announced a new creator-owned series. Any more info on it?
So new creator-owned series, which will be published by AWA. The series is called Marjorie Finnegan. And Marjorie Finnegan is our lead character. She is a criminal on the run in the time stream. The series will be illustrated by Goran Saduska.
Okay.
I don't know his last name.
So Garth Ennis is doing a time travel story, huh?
Yeah, which, I mean, it looks cool. Some of the art was kind of interesting. I'm down. It's Garth Ennis. I mean, of course, it's going to at least get a check out. You know.
Interesting. This is the weird thing. Skybound and Image Comics are developing a Comic-Con cruise. Recently, anyone on either site's mailing list got a survey asking if there would be an interest in the event. I mean, cruises are kind of no-nos right now because of the whole COVID thing.
Well, it's said to be like one of the questions is like, when would you be comfortable? And the earliest date they gave was 2023.
Okay.
So I think they're planning like it's something they're like, this would be cool if we did it, but we gotta wait till COVID's.
I'm terrified of boats, and the idea of cruises to me is like would outweigh like this, like the fear of being on a boat would outweigh the Comic-Con aspect of it for me. You know.
I am a very boring individual. I've never flown. I've never been on a cruise. I've been on like speedboats and stuff. Like, right. I live by a lake. I've been on boats, but never a cruise. So I'm kind of sitting back thinking, Image, I mean, if you need someone to host some panels, I'll take a free cruise.
I would host a panel. Now, if that's okay, I'd love to host a panel.
But in reality, I don't think I'd pay to do this for a multitude of reasons.
Yeah. Just because they have cons on land?
Cons on land that I can afford to go to. Right. I don't know how much it's going to cost, but I assume off the bat, cruise, we're talking at least $500.
Usually for a cruise, you have to fly to the major city that it's going out of. So, like, even you got to get to New York City or Boston somehow to even get on the cruise, you know?
My money's on LA on that one.
Or LA, yeah. Image, yeah. So, I mean, yeah, there's going to be people that'll pay to do that, though. I think it'd be really cool. Now, if they said, hey, we're going to do panels and stuff, and you want to pay like $5 to tune in, I'd be interested in that.
Yeah, I feel like you have to, especially if it's going to be like I don't know, is this just a random con to be like, hey, look, Image Comics doing something cool, or is this going to be like Image Expo on a boat?
Yeah,
So if it's the latter, then yeah, you're going to have to stream it or something. Because you can't just be like, yeah, we're announcing the return of Walking Dead with Walking Dead 2, Electric Boogaloo, and nobody hears about it except for these 5 people on a boat. So
that's I don't know. I guess we'll wait until we get more info. I mean, good for them for doing something weird though. Like it's definitely piqued interest.
Yeah,
and I mean, you got to do stuff to keep this industry alive. So why not?
My favorite tweet of this whole thing though was Donnie Cates, who retweeted the post about it, and he was just like, "Hey, Image, I write a book for you."
I did hear about they are doing, not to get too off topic, but I've heard about a metal cruise, and that sounds awesome. Like just tons of metal bands, and like every night's a metal concert. Now that sounds pretty cool, and
that is becoming a thing because it's like specialty. Cruise. Yeah, because being a fan of, I mean, I'm wearing the T-shirt of Tell 'em Steve Dave, and Brian Quinn on it is part of the Impractical Jokers, and they do the Impractical Jokers cruise every year. So like, there's literally just theme cruises on like, hey, you like G.I. Joes? Come to the G.I. Joe cruise, or whatever. So
yeah,
it's not out of the realm of what's going on around us, at least pre-COVID.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess we'll just talk about what we read this week.
Let's do it.
All right.
Books.
I read a few in between moving my entire apartment. I guess we'll just Space Bastards #1 right behind me. This is written by Eric Peterson, Joe Aubrey, and illustrated by Derek Robertson. And like Derek said, I mean, he gave me this whole rundown. I really like this book, and I mean, attributed to the fact that Derek built this Star Warsy, and he explained it perfectly. Like it feels dirty, like oily. You know what I mean? And I like the idea that this 9-to-5er, loses his job and he's just out there, and it's absurd. It's and the other character Matterhorn is a lot of Lobo-y. So I thought that was really cool too, and you read it as well, right?
Yeah, I can't remember if I said on or off air, but he's one of those artists that the way he tells a story, I become a fan of. Mm-hmm. So we like Scott Snyder because of the way he tells stories.
Right.
And I realized, I mean, way before this, but as I'm reading, I'm just like, yeah, this is a Derek Robertson book. Like it feels like it could be the future of The Boys, or right. Like it feels like it could be in those worlds that he's created because it comes out of Derek Robertson's mind. So I think if you're a fan of all that, it'll transfer over and you'll love this book too.
For sure. Future State Legion of Superheroes #1. This is just pretty much a continuation. I mean, it's a future state of the Legion book. Even though we're supposed to be on it, I don't remember. Was there the whole excerpt that says this within the multiverse?
Yes.
Okay. Then we can assume that we're on another universe, or we're not. But did you read it?
I did.
Okay. The Legion is pretty much broken up. I mean, it felt, I don't know how you felt, but it felt like a continuation, like 30 years or 20 years in the future of Bendis' book.
Real quick, I'll just say this. I read the back of the book where Bendis does like an interview, and actually it's the same interview in all the Future State books this week.
Yeah.
And he talks about it. It is like, he said he got the idea and they're just like, yeah, do a future story. And he's like, but the Legion's already the future.
Right.
He goes, so I told a story where basically there's a time gap.
Yep.
And then we could presumably just keep going from here after Future State's done, which says to me there's more Legion coming.
Yeah, which is awesome. Yeah, I mean, it didn't mean that I didn't enjoy it, though. It's just a little different than what we've been reading. The Legion is broken up. There's some members that want to get it back together. Basically, the story that we're given is Element Lad betrayed the Legion, and now they're trying to gather up whatever they have to go face him. Bouncing Boy is badass now. He's just a badass, like that they dropped from a ship. It was awesome. Triplicate lost one of her triplets, which was kind of sad. That there's only 2 now, and she's like very morbid now. Isn't I think it was cool to be like, we've had these characters for 12 issues, and now this is like something really messed them. Like Bouncing Boy went from the joke to like, the most overpowered legionnaire that they have. And I think it was cool to see the new dynamic and what Element Lad did to screw everybody over. Who knows? But I still enjoyed it.
It was. So first, I think it was a disappointment that I didn't get the Golden Lantern story.
Stop teasing me with that, dude. Come on.
Because that's what I was looking for. So that brought it down for me a little bit.
Right.
And then I hope that this isn't the. I hope he doesn't just take this and move forward, because there's elements of this that I don't really care for in a long-term story. I would rather you just went back and kept telling from where you were on issue 12.
Yep.
It's not a bad issue, but it's not my favorite. It's probably honestly my least favorite of the Future State stuff I've read.
Mm-hmm.
But that's saying that, like, I really enjoyed a lot of the Future State stuff I read. So
Strange Adventures number 8 is Tom King, Mitch Gerards, and Doc Shaner. I really like that dude, Doc Shaner.
It's good people.
Should try to get him on the show sometime. So this is a like 2 parts. There's a flashback, the past, and then there's the present day. So the past story we get, Strange returns because he was held captive by the Picts, returns with his daughter, and then he plans a trip with his daughter before he goes to win the war for Ron. And there's some foreshadowing going on there that she will get lost. They talk about the Zeta beams. The mother warns them of the Zeta beams. Like, if you get lost, you won't come back. So, bam. Unless Tom King, is completely oblivious to the use of foreshadowing and storytelling, I don't think he is. That means something's going to happen to the daughter being lost, and this is the start to finding out what happens to her. At least that's what I got from it. I don't know what you got from it, Chris, but and then the present day, all shit hit the fan in the present day. The Picts are invading Earth, and they wipe out Phoenix, Arizona. Did you read this book?
I didn't read it, no.
Oh, okay. So, which is crazy because Flash goes to save, Batman's like, you need to get to Phoenix because it's about to blow up. So Flash is like, I'll be right there, and he gets there, and then really disheartening and sad. Like, all he can do is run around Phoenix and count how many people have died because he can't save any of them. So he gets to 30,000. He's like 30,000 something. That's how many people that I couldn't save. And it was like, holy shit, the Flash wasn't quick enough. It clear to me that the Picts know how to destroy planets. They're, planet killers. Mr. Terrific and Batman capture a soldier that's entering to Earth to drop more bombs, but they capture him, and they really, he won't speak, and then he finally, the only thing he does say is what happened with Strange, how did he kill your people? And he goes, he didn't win the war, he committed genocide, is what he says. So someone's not, and you know what it is, what do they say, the winners of war to write the history books or something like that. So this could be, maybe he did commit genocide for some reason, murdered all these people. We don't know, because now we have 2 sides of the story. We have really pissed off alien race blowing up Earth. So this has gone full, we've cranked this book up to 11, and I don't think it's going to stop. So
that makes sense. It fits Tom King's style. That was basically the end of Act 2.
Right.
Now we're on to conclusion.
Yep. And then the only last book I had, I'm still behind on some stuff. Sorry, people. Shang Chi, number 5. This is the end of the series, but then we're continuing on with The Legend of Shang Chi, I believe, and that comes out next week. There's a big fight with his sister. They brought in these Chinese vampire people to New York, and they're fighting, and he has this conversation and goes to this other world where his sister is being manipulated by the father because, oh, lo and behold, the father's been evil the whole time. We all knew that, but she still won't reconcile the relationship between her and Shang Chi, so she runs away, leaving him to be the head of the five weapons. So by the end, he accepts it, and his father comes to him and says that he's going to end up like him, and that's basically bum bum bum. That's where it ends. We're going to continue on the legend of Shang-Chi. So now we're going to see him as the head of the five weapons, but he's already started to like change things from the norm, just with the whole tradition of how they hand it off. So he's changing things up a little more modern style because he doesn't believe in the old ways. So, I mean, I love Shang-Chi. I love Kung Fu. So give me more of that. And that's what I read this week.
So I'll start with X-Men number 17, which was the issue that Brett Booth drew for it. And it's actually a little bit longer of an issue, and it's kind of a one and done story of the X-Men going into space and doing things. And they have to save like a princess who's been taken by somebody who's mad because they accuse her of being a dictator, but the X-Men save her and blah, blah. It was kind of a just get in and out story. I think they had to delay for something else, and they also had Brett Booth, so why not? Colonel Weird Cosmagog number 4. So this is the ending of this series, and I really, really loved it because throughout the entire series, we're trying, like, Colonel Weird's trying to figure out something's missing in the timeline. And as I'm reading it, as somebody who's read everything Black Hammer, I'm like, what's missing? Because everything, he's going back to events that we've seen, and they all seem to make sense throughout the story. And what it is the entire story ends on, spoilers for this series, everybody, so jump forward if you don't want to hear it, but he's missing Walkie-Talkie. Like, Walkie-Talkie disappears somewhere along in the story arc of a Black Hammer.
Right.
And he finds him again. So he has his old friend, and they get to go back to the Parazone together and, like, finish their stories. It was a really cool, like, weird... They went in different time periods and different versions of Colonel Weird, and I really loved it. I think it's my favorite Black Hammer solo book so far.
Awesome.
Daredevil number 26 was a King in Black tie-in, so it's Daredevil's in jail. He's having issues in jail. There was some really good dialogue while he's in jail with some of the other inmates, because as he's in jail, he gets to wear his mask still because he's in prison as Daredevil, so nobody knows he's Matt Murdock.
Okay.
And there's a great back and forth of one of the prisoners is like, when I get out, I still have to be me. When you get out, you can take that fucking mask off,
right, and
be whoever you want to be. And I really like that back and forth. And then on the side, Elektra's out there playing Daredevil in Hell's Kitchen, and that's when Null comes and destroys everything, and she has to fight him,
as he does.
Yeah. Future State, Superman versus Imperious Lex. This is the Mark Russell book. This is the core of this book takes place on a council meeting of the United Planets.
Oh, interesting.
And it's in the future. So in this future, Lex Luthor runs a planet.
Okay.
And he wants to join United Planets. So Superman's telling them a story about how, like, Lex is sending these robots out to kill things and steal things. And that's how it's creating the economy for his new planet. And so everyone's deciding along the way, like, so we're going to deny him, right? Like, fuck this guy.
Right.
And Superman finishes the story and says, that's not the point of my story. The point of my story is that there's billions of people on this planet who are being manipulated by Lex Luthor. And those are the people we need to help right now because they're in turmoil, and what they're going through isn't their fault. And there's whole backlogs of, like, how the media is treated in this world and how the economy works in this world. It's a really thought-provoking and deep story. And it's still got one more issue to go to, I believe. I think it ends on a to be continued. And I absolutely loved it.
I wonder if he's going to take over a book after that.
I don't know. I mean, Mark's one of those guys who we just see kind of pop in and out of different stuff. So I hope so, because I think he's a talented writer who can do something.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Superman's already taken, so it's not going to be that.
Right.
But I'll be interested to see if and what it is. Future State Aquaman #1.
Nice.
So this has was it Aqualad?
Mm-hmm.
Is now Aquaman, and Aquaman and Mara's daughter is there alongside too, and they get sucked into this. It's really funny because it reminds me of some Flash stuff. They get sucked into the world ocean or the universe ocean, whatever they call it.
Okay.
And they can travel from dimension to dimension inside this ocean, and they live this whole life in this ocean, trying to get back to Earth. And it's that whole story of that and where Aquaman ends up in it and all this stuff. It was really cool and thought-provoking. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I mean, it's more Aquaman.
Right.
Even though it's not really Arthur, I love Aquaman. So
yeah, you like people that can talk to fish.
I do. And we find out that Aquaman and Mara's daughter has a unique power in this too.
Oh.
Which, I mean, there's no new Aquaman book, so we're not going to be able to explore that.
Right.
DC. And then, yeah, Batman White Knight presents Harley Quinn, #4.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a continuation of that story. There's Harley trying to figure out what's going on with this new killer. In the last issue, we found out that like one of the old starlets, her son is working with Harley in the FBI, and Harley's like at a crossroads trying to figure out what to do because she thinks that he needs to go. He's too close to the mission. So who's she go to? She goes to Bruce.
Of course.
So there's a whole conversation with them in jail, and then it ends up where we find out that there's more to this story than just that this killer is on the loose trying to do something. Like, she has her own motivations, and part of it is she's in love with the FBI agent in question. And there's a whole backstory there too that was really fun. So I'm really loving it. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this, but like Harley Quinn, there's 2 Harley Quinn books I'm reading right now that I really like. And then let's see. Oh yeah, so real quick, I read James Bond 007. What was it called? Reflections of Death. This is a really great anthology book. It's like, I don't know, 160 pages. And there's an overarching story that involves a lot of flashbacks.
Okay.
So the overarching story has its creative team, and then each flashback is a different creative team telling a story about a time and place in James Bond's life.
That's awesome.
I really enjoyed it. Everybody should check it out. And then I got 2 more quick review books. So we were given a copy of a book that's up on Kickstarter right now. Unfortunately, I was trying to work with the creator to get him on the show. It's not going to work out, unfortunately. So we're going to have him in the future. But he did give me permission to talk about his book, and it's Time Schmucks.
Awesome. I didn't get to read it yet. I'm so excited we got shared with us though.
It's a really fun book. I mean, it's a guy. He's a schmuck. He's an alcoholic. He's a kind of a jackass, and his only friend left in the world is really his bartender. And he ends up going on a binger, and then he stumbles upon this old like American history museum, and there's a thing in there that's like Benjamin Franklin's old brewing kit. So he breaks in to drink Benjamin Franklin's old beer, and finds out that he had created a time machine back in the 1700s.
That's awesome.
And then in the meantime, his bartender's like, oh, you left your coat here, so I gotta go find you. And on the way sees him, and they both get sucked into a time stream. And they go back to like 1800s America.
That's cool.
There's a lot of good gags in here. If I had any complaint, it's that it ended too quick. And it's 22 pages, so it's standard comic, but it made me want more. So maybe that's not a complaint. Maybe that's a good thing, because now I want to come back for issue 2. But the ending was a little abrupt in my eyes.
Okay.
And then my last one is a IDW review book. Transformers Beast Wars #1, which will be out on comic shelves this Wednesday. And this kind of retold in an expanded form the first episode of the Beast Wars cartoon. Where all the characters are, how they got sucked back into time to this like old version of Earth, and why they're there. I thought the art was really good. The story was familiar enough where if you saw the show, you know it, but I hope they go in a different direction in the show with the second issue. But we got our cast characters. Everybody gets their transformations. We could see Optimus Primal and everybody else. And it ends on Megatron kind of declaring what he's going to do next. So,
if you like big bads like to do.
Yes. So if you like Transformers, you like Beast Wars in particular, go check this one out. Like I said, it'll be in your comic shops this Wednesday.
Awesome.
So Mike, that's all I got. Where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Fortress Ricker on Twitter. Where can they find you and or the show?
Well, they can find me at Fortress Chris on Twitter, and they can find the show at fortresscomicnews.com or at patreon.com/fortresscomics. Everybody, if you're listening to us, to make sure you give us a 5-star review on whatever podcatcher or whatever thing they do to up the algorithm. Give us a good review. Mm-hmm. And if you're watching us, because for some reason you like to watch two guys sit and talk, on YouTube at youtube.com/fortresscomics, to thumb up the video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and share with a friend. Because more people need to hear Mike's voice. No, they need to hear that Derek Robertson interview, because that too. I'm going to go back just to re-listen to that man talk. Yep. So yeah, everybody, thanks so much for listening this week, and I hope you come back next week for awesome episode 200 we got planned. Yeah, I bet you want to know what it is, so you better stick around.